Happy birthday, America! It's Caitlin, your favorite Michigan girl, wannabe Jedi, and resident Disney freak. Happy 4th of July to everybody out there celebrating in the United States of America. It's kind of hard to believe that our country is 240 years old. Not looking half bad for 240, huh? Let's hope when another 240 years have passed, America is still looking as good and doing as good as it is today. Anyway, happy 4th of July. I hope if you're all celebrating, you're celebrating safely and responsibly. That means don't party too hard because yes, it is a 3-day weekend, but we do have to go back into work tomorrow, so let's make sure we don't get too hungover from the wild partying or be too exhausted after a late night with fireworks. So, celebrate safely, responsibly, and have fun. Anyway, happy birthday, America, like I said. Now, no big Disney news this week. Nothing's really happening in the world of Disney. Sad but true. Oh, wait, yes there is. I lied. Big news. Who remembers that cool movie, Wreck-It-Ralph? Me, because Wreck-It-Ralph, oddly enough, is my favorite Disney Pixar movie. Sorry, Toy Story, but the trilogy ended up being kind of depressing at the end, and I like my stories to have a happy ending. Wreck-It-Ralph is awesome. It's one of the coolest movies. In case you haven't seen it, here's a brief summary. Wreck-It-Ralph is the story of this video game character named Ralph, who's a bad guy, but he wants to be the hero for once, not the bad guy. Thus begins his journey to become a hero. Unfortunately, by leaving his video game in his quest, he triggers a bizarre chain reaction that threatens the future of his game, Wreck-It-Ralph, and the future of the arcade. It's a really great movie with a really great message, and it's awesome. Well, guess what? Disney announced live on Facebook with John C. Reilly, the voice of Wreck-It-Ralph, that at long last, for those of us who absolutely adored Wreck-It-Ralph and want to know what happens after the credits roll, guess what? There's going to be a sequel. That's right, Wreck-It-Ralph 2 is in production and is going to get made and released soon. It's so exciting, and this time, Wreck-It-Ralph just doesn't hold the fate of the arcade in his hands. No, Wreck-It-Ralph holds the fate of the worldwide internet. It's going to be an awesome family adventure, and I can't wait to see it, so I'm counting down the days. That's it from the world of Disney, but don't worry, Star Wars has some news. That's right, meet one of my new co-hosts, BB-8. He's cute and fluffy, and I wish I had the droid, app-enabled droid, but he will do because I can hug him, and I can't hug the droid because it's only like that. It's only like this big, and this one I can hug, so I prefer my pillow. So, anyway, big news. Relating to Star Wars Celebration, they have announced what the final panel of the celebration is. And this one would actually be, next to Rebels and Rogue One, would be the one I'd want to go to the most. Well, I'd want to go to all of them. But the final panel for Star Wars Celebration 2016 Europe is going to be called Future Filmmakers. And they are going to have get a glimpse of what the future holds in the Star Wars galaxy when the Lucasfilm Story Group's Pablo Hidalgo, who if you're a Rebels fan, you know him pretty well by now because he's in like every single episode of Rebels Recon, answering our questions about the Star Wars universe. Host a discussion with filmmakers Kathleen Kennedy, Kiri Hart, Ryan Johnson from Star Wars Episode 8, and directing duo Chris Miller and Phil Lord from the untitled Han Solo movie. The future filmmaker discussion set for Celebration Stage on Sunday, July 17th is sure to include some surprises and end the weekend on a high note. If you're in attendance, set hyperspace coordinates accordingly. This will be a must-see event. Oh my gosh, that would be so cool. Okay, Star Wars Episode 8. Oh my gosh, they did the production announcement trailer, and I was like, oh my god, freaking out because it's so awesome. But they're also going to be talking about that Han Solo Star Wars movie, which will be even more awesome because that's the next one coming out. Okay, this year it's Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Next year it's the still unnamed Star Wars Episode 8. And then in 2018 it's going to be the currently untitled Han Solo Star Wars story movie. Yay! So it'd be really cool to get a little sneak glimpse. Maybe they'll let slip some details. Like I said before, there's been a ton of stuff written about Han Solo that is now kind of Legends material, before what he was like before the rebellion. So it'd be really interesting to see how much of that they're going to go back to and bring back into canon, or if they're just going to wipe the slate clean and totally rewrite the story of Han Solo, which it'd be kind of cool and interesting. But he's a really cool character. He's a smuggler with a heart of gold, so yeah, that would be a really cool conference to go see. So final one will be the Future Filmmakers panel. So again, really cool. sounds like Star Wars Celebration Europe is going to be a big, huge one this year. Next year it's going to be in Florida, which if I had the money, I would definitely be looking into ways I could get down there to go to it. Also, for those of you who are Barnes & Noble freaks like me, like bookworms, Barnes & Noble is this summer doing a bunch of summer events. They're doing like Harry Potter, pop culture, for the month of July. July 15th is going to be devoted to Star Wars, starting at 7 p.m. at local Barnes & Nobles. You can go in, see some book cosplay, look at some books, and they're also going to be demonstrating the Star Wars X-Wing game. My brother loves this game, and he's actually, I think, kind of good at it. I've never played it, so I might go and take a look, but I plan on going anyway because it'd just be cool to see other Star Wars fans in my local area. Like I said, I work at Staples, and a bunch of us are huge Star Wars fans, so it's kind of like not that hard to continue my craziness with Star Wars. So the 15th, go head over to your Barnes & Noble about 7 p.m. and get ready to get fully immersed in the world of Star Wars. I'm actually hoping that maybe I go and there might be some characters like Stormtroopers or Darth Vader from the local 501st Legion. That would make the night awesome. Let's see. Okay, let's close out of my Star Wars app, which is really awesome, by the way. Some kind of shocking news. Okay, we all remember Revenge of the Sith. We all pretty much know what kind of happens to a lot of the Jedi. I mean, they kind of show it, and looking back on it now after watching Clone Wars and seeing so many of these Jedi on screen, and the TV series like Ayla and Master Plo and Master Kit, it's kind of sad to see their fate in Revenge of the Sith. Especially when you see Mace Windu being brave and going up and then going out the window, it's like, aw, that's sad. Because at that point, we think there's only 2 Jedi left. Of course, if you're a Star Wars fan, even in canon now, you know there's more than just Obi-Wan and Yoda left. There was a few that survived, Ahsoka, and others, but it was still one of the most for me, it was really heart-rending to see all these great warriors, all these heroes just being killed because one person didn't like them, and it's like, oh, you're standing in my way, so I'm just gonna, granted the guy was totally cuckoo bananas and psychotic and what have you, but still. Anyway, for those of you who follow Star Wars news, you might have come across a little tidbit this past week, courtesy of Samuel L. Jackson, who did a live Q&A Twitter session in which a fan asked him, which he was, I guess he was responding to a fan's question. Oh, here it is. Somebody asked him, whose idea was it to kill Mace Windu? Just curious. He was great. And Samuel L. Jackson said, surprisingly, he's a Star Wars fan and he has his own fan theory about Mace Windu. Hold on to your horses if you haven't heard it yet. This knocked me for a loop when I read it. Warning, this is just a fan theory. It's not actually canon, it's not actually real. Lots of us have fan theories about what happened to Jedi characters we know that we don't necessarily see their fates on screen. Ahsoka's one of them. Even after Twilight of the Apprentice, I think it's Twilight of the Apprentice, there are still so many fan theories about what's happening to Ahsoka. I subscribe to the ones where she's still alive and she's going to come back at some point, but not for a while. She's going to undertake her own trial in order to become a full-on Jedi. Anyway, so like I said, this is just a fan theory. It's not real and it hasn't been proven whether or not it's actually true, so yeah, just fan theory. Like all the stuff we make up. Jackson replied to this question, in my mind, I'm not dead. Jedis can fall incredibly high distances and not die. He later goes on and explains this when he stated emphatically on Entertainment Weekly Radio that Mace Windu is alive, Jedi can fall from amazing distances, and there's a long history of one-handed Jedi, so why not? So, the actor who portrays one of the most powerful Jedi in the Jedi Order in the prequel movies, Master Mace Windu, aka Samuel L. Jackson is saying Master Mace Windu is not dead. He's alive. That's his fan theory. That Mace Windu somehow managed to survive that fall out of Palpa Creep's office. And, okay, that's like, if it's true, if it's not just fan theory and it turns out it's true, oh my gosh, then where the heck has Mace Windu been? What has he been doing? Is he like... But here's the weirdest thing. Samuel L. Jackson said it's fan theory. It's not real. It's just his theory about what could happen to Mace Windu. He doesn't believe Mace is dead. But, get this. Samuel L. Jackson actually told the Mace Windu is alive fan theory that he came up with to George Lucas, the guy who created Star Wars, the guy who came up with the Jedi and the Sith, who created this amazing story, this amazing world that sucks us all in and gives us amazing dreams and has our imaginations going overtime. So Samuel L. Jackson tells his theory to George Lucas, and George Lucas likes it. In fact, he told Samuel L. Jackson to run with it. Granted, George Lucas no longer owns Star Wars, but that's like saying that Disney and me, that like, I don't know, just because George Lucas doesn't own Star Wars doesn't mean they're not going to take his ideas seriously. I mean, all the Rebels episodes are still kind of run by George. George knew what was going on, so just because George doesn't own Star Wars anymore does not mean he's not involved with Star Wars. So it's like, oh my gosh, George Lucas just okayed this fan theory by Samuel L. Jackson that yes, Mace Windu is alive, and he said go with it. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. So George Lucas and Samuel L. Jackson are believing in this fan theory that Samuel L. Jackson came up with, that Mace Windu is still alive. So yeah, mind blown, mind shot. If it's true, this could get really interesting in the new Star Wars universe. Having one of the most powerful Jedi Masters ever still be alive. Of course, would he actually still be alive by the time Force Awakens comes around? I mean, like, since Force Awakens is at like 20-some years, 30-some years after Return of the Jedi, that's kind of doubtful that Mace Windu would be alive that long because, oh, let's face it, he's not Yoda. So, still, it'd be kind of awesome and cool if Mace Windu was alive, and maybe they treat it like Ahsoka, that, you know, we'd see more of him in it. Let's see, there's also, oh, here it is, Star Wars Rebels, some last bit of Star Wars news is the Star Wars Rebels producers have hinted at future movie tie-ins. They already have done a couple. In Twilight of the Apprentice, there was that moment when Ezra picks up the crossguard lightsaber, and that was just a really nice nod to Force Awakens. Well, Force Awakens does it itself does a quick salute to Star Wars Rebels. There's this one scene where I can't remember what it is. Finn is asking Han about the Force, and he's like, can't you just use the Force or something? And Han looks at Finn and goes, that's not how the Force works, which is a really great reference to a Star Wars Rebels episode where Zeb tells Ezra, well, why can't you use the Force? And Ezra's like, that's not how the Force works. So that was a really cute tie-in between the two. Well, now the producer Simon Kinberg is saying that the television series might not be narratively isolated, which means it might not just be on their own. They might start sneaking in references to the movies, to past movies, to future movies, to current movies, which would be really cool. We do know from interviews that the producers of Star Wars Rebels have been working really closely with Star Wars Rogue One as the Rebels storyline moves closer and closer to Rogue One, a Star Wars story. So it's going to be really interesting to see more of the movie tie-ins. We've already had Lando, we've had Princess Leia, we've had 3PO, we've had R2, Darth Vader, of course, Tarkin. So it will be really interesting to see what future Star Wars movies they tie into Rebels. I don't think they're going to do it so much with the Filmmakers. The Filmmakers are like pretty much Lego, and Lego Star Wars on its own is just like narratively isolated as a whole because it's just like really more of a parody of Star Wars. But yeah, so Star Wars news for this vlog is future Filmmakers panel at Star Wars Celebration with directors, producers from Star Wars Episode 8 and Untitled Han Solo, a Star Wars story movie. Samuel L. Jackson and George Lucas are both going with this fan theory that Mace Windu did not die after getting pushed out the window by Public Creep. He's still alive somewhere, somehow. And Star Wars Rebels is going to start maybe putting in more tie-ins to the movies. So there you go. There's your Star Wars news for the week. Also, be looking for updates from Disney on the upcoming Wreck-It-Ralph2 movie. Also, I was really thrilled. If you haven't seen it, go check out the teaser trailer for, I think it's pronounced Moana, the new Disney princess movie. She's a Polynesian princess. It looks really cool. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson plays the demigod Maui, so it's I think it looks awesome. I'm, like I said, resident Disney freak, love Disney princesses, so go check it out. And once again, happy 4th of July, happy birthday, America. I'm Caitlin, your favorite Michigan girl, wannabe Jedi, and resident Disney freak. I'll see you guys next week. Take care, stay safe, and as always, may the Force be with you.